My first musical memories, I think it would have to be at home. And it's funny because it's Spanish music, you know, just merengue and salsa, which is all the stuff that my parents and my family used to play, you know. And that's kind of my earliest memory of anything musical. Is always that kind of like festive Christmas time music. Music was always part of my plan. You know, when I was in the Bronx growing up and going to school and stuff, I always had a real love for acting and singing and dancing. I just kind of saw it all as one thing. I was like really into musicals because my mother had exposed me to them, and I just loved them. And I always saw a career in entertainment as doing all three. So it was a very natural thing for me. It was never a plan. I know I started as an actress, but and that's kind of where I got my first into the business. But you know, it was always a part of my plan to kind of like to go into music. It was just part of it.
¿Qué hiciste? Nos obligaste a destruir las madrugadas y nuestras noches las borraron tus palabras. Mis ilusiones acabaron con tus falsas. Se te olvidó que era el amor lo que importaba y con tus manos derrumbaste nuestra casa.
I just love what I do. You know, and I feel we're really lucky and very fortunate to be here and to be able to. And this is like a great time for me, you know what I mean? Because this is my first Spanish album. I've done 5 English albums, you know, and it's been really great. But I've always had this kind of thing inside me, this yearning to do something in Spanish, and I just love the music. It's very passionate. As you see, it's very different than the stuff I do in English, and it just gives me kind of an opportunity to show a different side of myself, you know, kind of the more romantic, sensitive, dramatic side. So I really love it. So I guess that's where the positive energy comes from.
¿Qué hiciste? Nos obligaste a destruir las madrugadas y nuestras noches las borraron tus palabras. Mis ilusiones acabaron con tus falsas. Se te olvidó que era el amor lo que importaba y con tus manos derrumbaste nuestra casa.
The name of the album is called Como Ama Una Mujer, which means the way a woman loves, and it was really inspired by, I guess, where music should be inspired from. You know, just the love of wanting to make great music. I was in the studio with Mark Anthony, who wound up producing the album, my husband, and he was finishing his own album, and they had written a song for him. Which is actually one of the songs we did today. And Mark was like, you know, we should just let Jennifer do that song. And he always knew that how much I love Spanish music. And I wound up recording that song that day, so it kind of just like the album was born right there. It's funny, the studio process was very different than any other album I've ever made. It took about 3 years. Because we didn't have any deadlines and nobody asked me to make the album. Like I said, it was kind of a very natural thing that just happened. We started going in and working with the writers that worked on Mark's last Spanish album, and they started writing songs for me, and it was just all kind of very inspired. Months would go by, and then we'd go back and they'd send us another song, and then we just go in and work, you know, do 3 songs, you know, and then we leave it alone and come back to it. And so that's kind of how the process went. Everything was kind of very inspired, happened very naturally, and then, you know, like 2.5 years later, I was like, this is a whole good album. You know, and it had a real natural theme to it, you know, which was love. Obviously, it's a lot of love songs, and it just came together like that.
Y por
I like performing. I like performing on stage, and it's funny because I've never really gotten to do it that much because I have a movie career, and I'm fortunate enough to have film, you know, in my life, and to be an actress, and so I've never been able to kind of go out on tour, and people have never really seen me perform. But with this album and my next English album, which will be out later in the year, you know, I'm gonna finally go out on the road. I'm gonna do a lot more live performances because, you know, it's just something that I really love to do, and I haven't had the opportunity, and I just feel like I'm at the point in my career where I can kind of put the movie to the side for a second and say, you know what, that's gonna wait. I'm gonna do this, and I love it. I listen to all kinds of music. I listen to pop music, it's classical music. I listen to 30s and 40s music. I listen to salsa music. I listen to R&B, hip hop. I have a real eclectic taste in that sense. I love good music, whatever it is. All of those genres have something to offer. As far as I'm concerned, they put you in a mood, and that's what music is. It's kind of like the soundtrack to your life. You know, you're driving up to the, you know, your cabin and wherever, and going away for a weekend, and like, you got to have the country music on. You know what I mean? But then if you're like at home and, you know, getting ready for some special event, you know, I like to have Billie Holiday in the background. You know, it just depends. I hope you enjoy the new music. It was done with a lot of heart and soul, and a lot of passion, and I hope you enjoy it.